It's been a while since we've had a look at progress made on my Flyer S-Gauge 2.0 layout. If you're interested in the backstory, I've included some links to previous videos in the description so you can get a bit of history if you want. For now, though, I thought it was time for a layout update video. Now, I know there's a lot of those on YouTube. They're almost as popular as unboxing videos, which, by the way, I refuse to do, ever. Being in the asylum, I can't have sharp objects, so getting into boxes can be kind of ugly. Getting back to the layout update stuff, though, I didn't want to just copy everyone else's approach to it. I kind of wanted this one to be a little bit different. So I asked myself, what's the last thing a model train person would expect to see in a layout update video? Why, Shakespeare, of course, came the obvious answer. So interspersed with the layout update will be famous lines from Shakespeare plays, had the bard lived in the age of trains. Trust me, it'll be fun. Honest. Don't click away now. Let's start the layout update then with Great Itching Station, serving the S-scale community of the lower Barnstable Valley. It's an eBay find that needed some TLC. The previous owner used rather a lot of hot glue. And even though it's a slightly larger scale than everything else, it fits quite nicely. In case you're interested, Lesser Itching doesn't have a train station, but the bedbug problem has been resolved. Another key structure, this signal tower. It too was used from eBay with broken bits here and there, but all fixed now and looking quite magical in the early morning light. Proof that if you're willing to accept less than perfect, you can end up with more in the way of character and atmosphere, not to mention savings. A big change is the addition of various shrubs and trees. I've used them to kind of define parts of the lower Barnstable layout, particularly roadways. It might look a bit overgrown, but I think the foliage ties the various elements together and gives everything a nice sense of age. By the way, a feature of the previous layout was race rocks. I really liked it. Seeing the trains go through the imagined cuts was always fun. So I brought them into Flyer 2.0. A bit of a nod to the original S-Gauge layout. And then there's the ballast and additional sleepers. Most of the main inner and outer loops are done now. It's a bit messy, but that's what it looks like. Nothing particularly refined in the lower Barnstable Valley. Though a bit more foliage and static grass along the edges will ultimately soften the look a bit. Still a lot more ballasting to go. Though having run out of popsicle sticks, more sleepers may have to wait until next summer. And if you're wondering, yes, I use kitty litter for the ballast. It's inexpensive and convincing. I just need to make sure no cats wander into the train asylum and add any, shall we say, neo-scenic features. Still with track updates, I recently introduced the spur line to the layout, as yet unballasted, as you can see. Originally it was straight, but then I thought a bit of curvature would add a bit of interest, especially when a loco travels over it like this. One of the most impactful additions to any layout is lights. And I've got them. We've got lights all wired up. There's Great Itching Station, The as-yet-to-be-named signal tower is shining, Wisdom Tooth Memorial Bridge, even the rather spooky Coaling edifice, which the tourist brochures say is a great place to relax with friends. Speaking of lights, I know these old Gilbert switches aren't prototypical, but you have to admit, lit up, they look somehow right, especially when nested in foliage with cartoon character names emblazoned on them. By the way, I use those instead of numbers to identify which remote controls which switch. I'm all about realistic modeling. So in addition to the scenics, I've added a few power drops to keep an even flow of current going through the old flyer track, and added a switch for the outer loop, letting me toggle between AC and DC power, depending on the loco that I'm running. Still to come? More ballast, obviously. Probably a different color for the spurs and the approach to the station and stuff. I may not bother with additional sleepers, though. A replacement for the Mahatma Jeeves Aggregate and Bagel Company plant is in the offing. Hopefully, maybe an engine shed if I can find one. A grassy area for sheep and cows. More trees. And of course, pavement, because what's paradise without a parking lot? So that's the state of play in the lower Barnstable Valley as of November 2025. You've seen bits and pieces of all this in my recent S-Gauge locomotive-focused videos, but I'm glad I had a chance to bring you up to speed on all the changes in the last 6 months. I hope you enjoyed the Shakespeare too. After all, culture is important.